This is the new Tool Dog mascot. This is my 24-year-old Camry. Rev it up, accelerating after a oil change. Basically, 200,000 miles, 24-year-old car, still working as good as I needed to. Very happy with it. I like to use it inside wash. It's pretty dusty. Oil's been freshly changed. Very happy with the work. Just dive into a quick tool haul video. I ended up getting these Cobalt mini toolboxes. I didn't realize there was a stackable version of these mini toolboxes, and so when I was at Lowe's, I said, let's do it. You know, they're kind of pricey. I think 30 bucks. The Harbor Freight ones were 20. But this video is going to be about the Harbor Freight G2 ratchets, the icons. I'm kind of a Koken fanboy and kind of decided all my ratchets going forward are going to be Koken. But when these G2s came out, I just couldn't help but purchase 4 of them. Also got some half-inch extensions. Didn't really need them, but doing tire rotations and stuff, a few more small ones would be handy. I like to keep a few in my truck for tire changes on the road. Went ahead and organized some of my half-inch ratchets here to kind of show how this long G2 fits in. My reasoning for buying the 4 G2 ratchets is that it basically, one, this half-inch, 26-inch non-flexible ratchet is a snap-on ratchet I've been wanting to buy for ever since I started buying ratchets and working on my car, but just could never justify the $300 price. At 75 bucks, I'm definitely purchasing this, and I did, and I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy with the Torque Test channel reviews. This is my similar tone, but it's a flexible head. It's not locking, it's indexing, but the head is just so small, I can't imagine it could take a serious torque load. So very happy with this snap-on knockoff. Very happy with the Torque Test channel reviews. Definitely have too many ratchets for DIY. I could get by with probably one ratchet, honestly, and I did for the longest time. I just used 1/3 Craftsman ratchet. And having extra tools is nice, but there's no need for this excessive amount. But that being said, the new G2s combine the 2 features of ratchets I was planning on buying, which is a Mac Tools ratchet with the indexing locking flex head and the old school snap-on knockoff ratchet head design. I've always wanted both of those ratchets, could never justify the purchase. Went as far as buying a used trash snap-on one that I regret because even with the rebuild kit, it's not really functioning properly. I think the inside is kind of scored heavily to the point where I just bought a bad old ratchet. So it works. I just have to keep the screws loose. So here I'm kind of going over my reasoning for buying more extensions than what I already have. And, you know, I got some Duralast ones, a Wobble one. But at this point, after this Icon 5-piece extension purchase for the half-inch, I'm definitely overloaded on half-inch extensions. So extensions is something I like to just have a bunch of and like to keep a few in the car for tire changes maybe, rather than using the car supply jack. So here I'm kind of comparing the Icon sockets to the Koken Z-series sockets. This is a 24 millimeter. I use that to put on all the ratchets to see how much the anvil is wobbling. In an older video, I kind of discovered that the Z-series socket has a larger impact on the wobbling of the socket than the ratchet does. But when you combine the Z-series ratchets, definitely have less wobble in the anvil regardless, and so do the Koken. So I stand by my assessment that Koken is the ratchet for me and the best ratchet. But again, when these G2s came out, combining features of 2 tool truck brands of ratchets I always wanted but could never afford, I couldn't help but buy a series of them. I got 4, 2 1/4 inch, 1/3, and 1 1/2 inch. Not Icon G2 related, but here I'm just kind of going over different universal sockets that I kind of wish I knew earlier. I got this, I think it's an Icon, but if I knew ahead of time, I definitely would have got these Kokens. So if you're ever in the market for a universal, I would highly recommend these. They're a little pricey, but I think they're worth it, and I'm glad I have both. But if I could go back and do it over, I would just get these. These seem superior to me. So very still think Koken and for ratchet sockets and adapters is the way to go. Here's a few more half-inch ones I missed. I didn't put them all in. So again, digressing from the G2 ratchet discussion. Sorry, my videos are kind of all over the place. I'm going to go over the latest configuration for my tool cart. So for me, just what I've decided to do is all of my DIY oil changes, tire rotations, and very basic stuff, transmission fluid changes. I'm just going to leave all the exact sockets and ratchets and tools that I'm actually using in the drawer. If I'm not using something, unless it's something light like a pick so I can keep them all together, I'm just going to basically break down my tool organization out of the main box and just build a specific maintenance cart just for the cars that I'm currently maintaining, which are a 01 V6 Camry and a 2000 V8 Tundra. So here I'm just kind of showing off a few of the bits that I've decided to keep. I want to have the option of both using battery operated impact tools and chrome hand tools. I find the chrome hand tools are kind of just quieter, and if you have the right tools with the right leverage, it's really not that hard. It's almost the same amount of work, but the impact gun is definitely faster. So it hurt me to take this 14 millimeter socket out of my foam set and leave it here as a designated place. I almost thought about buying a new one, but I came to my senses and just decided it's okay. It's just a one tool cart over. It's not gonna be the end of the world. I'm just gonna leave it there. I kind of try to keep this drawer empty just for the magnetic trays and any parts or things I'm working on. So here, as I said, I don't use all these picks, but I like to keep them all in the same drawer. I find picks and little pry bars come up all the time when working on the car, so I just dedicate this whole drawer. I do use a scraper almost every oil change to get the gasket off, although the last few I've left it on to see kind of how long it can go without leaking. I think I'm going to cut it short, the experiment short at 4 or 5, but I'm up to 3. Seems to be holding tight, no problem. So this is my current setup. I know I've reconfigured this 5 or 10 times, and these wrenches are going to be my go-to. These Nipros 6-point box end. I understand for maybe a professional these wouldn't be their go-to wrenches, but for me, I'm taking my time, DIY. I really enjoy using these. I used the 14 millimeter for my oil change. Plenty of leverage if you're not over torquing the boat. I'm currently torquing it down to 27 foot-pounds. Seems to be what feels right for an oil plug on this car. It's a little under what the book says, but I'm not getting any leaks and very happy with the outcome. This wrench is a standard, and it's the same size as the 8 millimeter, so I use it for my brake bleeding, and it's pretty much straight enough to where it works great, and it's a lot shorter than the Nipros. You don't need a lot of leverage on this brake bleeding, so I'm going to leave this in here as just a custom tool for my car when I bleed my brakes. Inspection mirror, I find that knife is very helpful for opening packages and gallons of oil. These are my impact gun, jack cushions. So here's back to the G2 Icon ratchets. These are the 4 I bought. 1/2-inch, 26-inch long, non-flexing head, snap-on knockoff. Been wanting this exact ratchet and snap-on for a year, and finally was able to afford it at Harbor Freight for $75 versus $300. And then I got the flex head 3/8 soft grip, and then the 2 1/4-inch, one non-soft grip, non-flexing head, kind of a copy of the 1/2-inch, and then one of the flex head soft grips. So obviously the flex heads are the Mako knockoff with the snap-on head. I've always wanted the Mako wrenches. Well, they're a little long, but it's good for me. I have so many ratchets, so they provide a unique point for me to add to my collection of ratchets that are a different form factor. So I'm very, very happy with them. I'm definitely going to start using them quite a bit. I tend to want to use my Harbor Freight tools. If anything is going to get anywhere where it's going to break, to me, that's going to be the easiest warranty. Even Tecton, for me, emailing in is more of a hassle than, the Harbor Freight is like 5 minutes from my house. So I could just go over there, grab a new one. That's going to be my go-to plan. But honestly, I'm still a Koken disciple. Using their ratchets are, just a dream with their sockets. And there's that Craftsman original ratchet I've used for almost the first 15 years of working on a car. I didn't have almost anything else other than the super cheap Harbor Freight ratchets. So they come in the multi-tool kit that are just bottom of the barrel. So went around and decided to just buy a ton of ratchets, and these are the last 4 latest to add to the edition. Very happy with them. Very happy with getting the tools for cheap. Ended up buying the Harbor Freight hat as well.